much value.
Yeah. Imagine if you had 2 of them. Turn 4, you got 2. Turn 5, you got 2. And then turn 6, you just played 6 cards.
All right, so we're seeing not only same bands, but same decks being played first. And I've got to think that this heavily favors REPI because we've seen him do it already. This is the first time we've seen Katha in the hand for REPI, too. He plays that as a 1-of, interestingly enough.
Yeah. This is the rematch of the century. He let Swordcraft through, and this is interesting. We didn't really get to see the full extent of the Swordcraft list. There's things like Otohime, Katha, Bud Katha, and with the Walford that we did actually get to see, there's a lot of things. I mean, the focus of this deck looks like to just maintain a value board across the few turns and then buff it up and swing in.
And if you noticed, he kept the Mars in his opening hand because he's on the play very specifically. I think this is just because it is one of those threats that if it's not dealt with, can just take over the game. This might actually prompt the Kahulin to stay in hand so it can get the Mars benefit and basically play around a Wood of Brambles, which is really nice.
Yep. Oh, you have to play the Leaf, man. Yep.
You know what the big thing is? I think most of the aggressive forest decks that we've seen in the past have more 2-drop 2/2s. And that's a huge thing that this deck is missing. Without Elfgar Eliza, the deck doesn't really have that push. It's not playing the Lilies. It's not playing, Tweedledees. It's not playing like any of just random 2 play point 2/2s that just pick it up.
Leaf Man. There is a way to remove the Mars. Here, you can Airbound Barrage.
I think that's the only way to do it.
The best way.
Yeah, it's the only way. You can't use your followers to trade. If you do that, Sword is already winning.
Yeah.
That is literally what Sword wants to do against this deck.
And just for what it's worth, maintaining the possibility of using the Enhance effect.
So I feel like, just a Fairy Generator plus, say, an Airbound Barrage here, probably the best thing you can do.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, yeah, you can still play that. Yep. Okay.
Yep, I like this play a lot. This does not open up the crazy Mars plays to follow up here. But the Kahulin plus the Veteran Lancer, freshly drawn. Great for this turn. Even Shield of Flame. I probably would have saved that for a higher impact follower, but apparently he wants to save the Kahulin.
Yeah, I guess I could kind of understand maintaining followers in hand so that you can keep on building a board.
That's true. He is a board-centric Sword deck. He's got the Sage Commander. He's got the Walford. We finally see Sea Queen. I think Sea Queen Otohime in this matchup, we were talking about when it's bad, it's bad. But when it's good, it's good. This is one of these matchups that it's really good in.
Yeah.
And he's got the combo. He's got this Otohime to basically fill up the entire board, and he's got his own Wood of Brambles-like effect with Sage Commander to just go crazy.
We'll see if that ends up happening. It depends on how many resources SHADOWSHADET is going to be dumping into these early turns.
It's true. And honestly, the turn 5 play here for REPI is not looking too good.
Yep. Now, he can control a little bit of it just by rushing down the 3/1 Fairy.
Oh, never mind.
God.
Literally has the most perfect turn 5 play there is.
Yep, and this is going to be really painful because you flood the board, and that's going to cause SHADOWSHADET to spend a bunch of resources, and then you flood the board again.
White Paladin.
Gosh.
Unreal in this matchup. I think that just sealed it. In my mind, the game's already over. You don't even need to play Sea Queen now. You can just play the Sage Commander on 6 after you've just flooded the board, and you just crush.
And I mean, SHADOWSHADET is going to have to break his back to clear this out, spending a ton of resources. The Sylvan Justice is one at a time. The Wood of Brambles comes out here, but even then, when you play your Otohime, every single follower has 2 defense instead of just 1.
Okay, so he is going to do as much work as he can to clear this board, so then Otohime will be played.
Yep. But this is the thing, right? It's like you are... In fact, I would just throw this last guy in, just get rid of him.
Yeah.
And just get a bunch of 1/2s. And he spent the Sylvan Justice, the Wood of Brambles, the Evolution Orb, and no damage done to face.
No damage done to face. Now, he does still have a lot of fairies in hand. 4 combos with Fairy Driver in the later game, but again, has not dealt a lot of damage yet. So kind of scary. Now, this might be a turn where REPI decides to go Frontline Cavalier and kind of not use all of his play points. I think what he's thinking about is he really wants that Arthur to happen instead of the Sea Queen at this point, because that 1/1 is kind of just in the way.
Where do you think the Evolution Orb goes, right? Because that's really the big question. If you Frontline Cavalier, that Evolution Orb is going to earn you the 2 followers that it gets. If you go with Otohime, none of the followers immediately affect the board, so you could kind of justify an evolution orb there. If you use Arthur, you're probably going to get some kind of rush, so I could see an Arthur play without the evolution orb.
Yeah.
But
Arthur can be played without the evolution, yeah.
I would definitely decide between the Otohime and the Cavalier.
I think Cavalier for one reason. It's because you gain the benefit ongoing. So if SHADOWSHADET does not stop to deal with it, which you want him to do, then you start just gaining too much defense over turns. And I think that just puts you in a really good situation. With that play, looks like the Otohime is coming down.
Yeah.
Just like you said.
Now, I kind of like this because you dangle that threat of the frontline Cavalier when your opponent feels like he's invested a lot, whereas right now when you play the Cavalier, you're just up to 20, and you think, well, there's no more healing that's going to come out of it, so I can wait until the perfect scenario, whereas this, you need to reply to this Otohime board, and then once you do, maybe you do some face damage, and then the Cavalier comes down.
Yep.
And then you think about, okay, well, now all that hard work and all those resources I put in, I need to put a stop to this right now.
Well, this is still perfect, like we talked about. Otohime is really good here. Sage Commander on top of it's going to get it right around this Wood of Brambles effect and basically just clear board and solidify the board for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Sage Commander is going to be so strong in this scenario.
Unless he goes defensive. If SHADOWSHADET plays defensively again this turn, which is looking like he is, it's not too bad. But, as we know in hand, it's inevitable. This board will get filled. There's an Arthur in hand. Evolution Orbs are now done. This 1-2 can still run in and get value off of one of these 1-1s.
And remember, at any point during these few turns, oh my god.
Yeah, it's just inevitable.
It's just board fill after board fill after board fill again and again and again. And REPI really taking to heart the idea of like identifying what is so strong about things like Daria and mid sword right now. It's just that controlling the board is so much more difficult than it was before.
I still think this is gross. Getting a ward off of Arthur is just gross.
Yeah.
A ward, a rush, something that grows in size, something that has a really hard time to die.
Yeah. So now we just see a 3-2 and a 1-1. And it's staring down basically a full board. This is tough.
SHADOWSHADET's thinking about this one. This is a tough board to think about. Again, this is a matchup that he let through. He knew he was going to play into immediately. I don't know. I'm still confused about this. Maybe Havencraft is just this big boogie monster that SHADOWSHADET does not want to play against. But I feel like this is just a free win for REPI. I just feel it's free.
Yeah, REPI is in a very, very good position.
There's no way to clear this board, and Sage Commander is going to act like a Walfred next turn and just go crazy.
Yep. What a well-constructed deck on the side of REPI.
Yeah, just
really like
good for
it.
this format. I mean, he is in the winner's side. He hasn't lost a single match yet.
Okay. Very good.
Ordering of that turn was very well thought out by SHADOWSHADET. And even, I mean, you could just even see Queen again. You know what I mean? Like, you're not really in any pressure to do anything spectacular at this point.
Yep.
You can even go frontline Cavalier into something. I guess they're all commanders, so that really wouldn't gain you anything immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's so much opportunity for... I mean, the cards that he has on board right now could last a very, very long time, too.
Just got to decide what's going to give him the most advantage. I honestly feel like Otohime this turn feels just fine. And then you can trade the 2-6 into the 3-1, 2-2 into a 1-1. It'll heal back. And then you're facing down 4 points of damage. Not really that scary. And then you've got a Sage Commander for the follow-up turn. You could Sage Commander this turn, but you don't really get that much value out of it.
He does it.
It's like he does. Only reason I say that is because then your 3-3 trades into the 3-1, and that just doesn't feel good.
Yeah. So he's going to go for value.
Yeah. I think it's the best thing to do. Now the Sage Commander is off the table for a huge buff on the entire team.
Yeah. And I think REPI maybe is just playing for the future. Maybe thinking, hey, if I just continue to make value trades and cause SHADOWSHADET to use more and more and more resources, Then by the time I get to a scenario where I can play out a Walford or something like that, that's really going to shut the game out.
Yeah, well, Walford unfortunately only affects officers. So if there isn't a board full of officers, then it doesn't really do very much. That's why I think there's only one in the deck. I think it's just like an option, just like the Sage Commander, just to be like one of those endgame plays that can just shut the door.
Yep. So actually there's just 7 damage here.
He's just going for the biggest board he possibly can post-Evo.
Yeah.
This is a really good play. I like this.
That's very good.
Now he's pushing for face. Perfect. Got around everything that REPI could do.
Okay.
That's an option. I said this match was free, but we're going into the late game, and SHADOWSHADET's finding a way
Yeah.
to go past all of this board flood.
It really comes down to, yeah. I mean, none of them have really either. REPI really hasn't gotten face a lot. SHADOWSHADET has been able to find opportunities to do so.
Yep, and I'm not. This is definitely not over for REPI. REPI can clear a lot of this damage off the board. He has wards to deal with Hyperia, or at least one ward. It's a very tiny ward though, so almost all of these threats can get through it. So this is going to be a scary couple turns for REPI.
Yeah.
He's got to top deck something here, I believe, in order to push himself into a winnable state. I don't think what he has available to him right now is good enough.
Needs to continue thinking about how to affect the board. All right. Bad Katha. And this is the thing about his deck. He's really looking to keep extending the value of his cards by buffing it more and more and more.
And like, this is one of those situations where you got to think, can I let them board fill, essentially, and then just go face?
Yeah.
This is not one of those opportunities that you can actually just pass on.
If you Hyperia and you just swing all your fairies face 5, 10, 12, plus 6, 18.
Yeah, I mean,
so
plus
even
you
if
have
there
the
was an
spell bomb.
Albert in hand, yeah. Yeah, I think if you... Interesting.
If you play the Ariana, you can't Hyperia and spell bomb.
Which is dangerous.
So it looks like he's just going for the spell bomb.
Still, it's very, very close to closing it out here for SHADOWSHADET.
This is rough. He's being able to play the Swordcraft game against Swordcraft right now. It feels really weird, too, because he had so many board fills. He had that awesome White Paladin top deck, but just didn't have a way to actually keep the board closed out.
He's not landing Mars. He's not getting good use out of Frontline Cavalier.
See you again next week. The battle is far from over.
He can gain 1 off of it. Oh, no, he can gain 3.
Gain like
That's
3,
right.
Yep. But even then, 2, 4, 5, 6.
That still does keep him alive.
Yeah. Yep.
And if a
And
Walford gets top decked,
does that buff fairies already in play?
No. No.
Okay.
Just ones that you freshly played.
Yeah, this is interesting, because now if you can't reach lethal, then you need to answer the Frontline Cavalier, right? How much do you trade? How much do you go face?
All right.
Okay.
I think it's just all face, honestly.
Yeah, just make it as hard as possible, but there's still the ward in there.
There is the ward in there. But can he actually get it into play is the real question. So he can trade 2 of his 1/2s into a 2/2. And that will give him some board space.
So tell me about Bad Katha and the 9 enhanced card that you receive.
So, well, first of all, Bad Katha on the front side is pretty much just what his deck's trying to do. So he's got a 3 version of it, a 6 version of it, and he's got a 9 version of it, essentially. So, like, just different ways to get in an 8 version in Walford to, like, pump his entire team. The card you get from it...
You need to play the ward.
You have to. And he can actually get rid of the 2-attack follower to make sure that he has to draw something else to push through the ward.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Okay, so he has to play the ward. Does he? I mean, okay. So let's get back to what this does.
Oh boy!
So you get to draw 3 cards and heal, which is awesome. Okay.
And heal 1 more.
And got another ward. And got another ward. Wow.
Oh man. Oh
Okay,
man.
that's it.
No,
That's it.
not-
Like after this turn, there's nothing else to be done.
So you have what? 3, 6, 10, 12, 18 damage.
Yeah, but I don't think it matters. If he couldn't bust through this turn, that was like his turn that he had.
Yep.
That redraw off of the spell that you get off Bad Catha was
Yeah.
great. Got a ward.
3 health plus
Healed
3
him.
plus 3 and 3 cards.
Now Albert can come down, just clear the entire board. You still have a ward up, and you still get a ton of damage in.
Oh, and you have another Albert.
Yeah. And you have the Luminous Mage if you can find board space somehow to like evolve it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to matter.
I mean, I think if you just throw in your maybe your Sea Queen and then play the Mage and evolve the Knight. Interesting. Okay, so he does want to.
He just wants to gain as much defense as possible. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like this way of doing it.
Oh, come on!
And then he set it
Wow.
up in such a way that it still guarantees a lethal without a board clear. And that's it.
Wow.
REPI.
REPI
Woo!
finds a way to finish it. That Bud Katha.
That was insane.
The Bud Katha is so great.
Gained him a 3, got a ward that then healed him for another one, and it was all because he kept that frontline Cavalier in his hand until the end game.
That, and we kind of talked about that a little bit, right? The value of frontline Cavalier, waiting until you know that your opponent has spent resources, and then figuring out a way to play that frontline Cavalier and get maximum benefit of it. It really slows your opponent down because he says, well, there's only 2 paths forward. Either I've committed all my strategy and resources to going face, so I have to keep trying to make that work, or I slow everything down and maybe abandon the game plan entirely, which doesn't feel good either because you spent so much trying to go aggressive and slow down and try to stop the Cavalier, and just ran away with it. That combination between Cavalier and the Otohime was real great.
Absolutely. Now, REPI has 2 chances with a combo Forestcraft deck to take a match. He's on the draw on the first one, and this is what we've talked about. On the draw is actually where you want to be with combo Forestcraft because it has so many cards that utilize those evolution points properly.
Yeah, and really you're looking to just swing the game back, right? The only thing that you don't get on the draw, especially in this matchup, is any kind of chipping damage on your own end, and that's very valuable for Combo Forest. That's why Combo Forest does so well against something like Vengeance Blood, because that chipping damage is done by your opponents.
Okay, so here's a thought, right? So we've seen a lot of Wood of Brambles being mulliganed in the hand of the Forestcraft players in this matchup specifically. The only thing that I can think of that the reason why this is happening is because REPI's on the draw. He's looking for things like Sylvan Justice, Airbound Barrage, which he did find, and he feels like Wood of Brambles is too slow on the draw to stop the aggro draws.
He has a lot to stop the aggression here.
I still don't agree. I think that Wood of Brambles is still a card that you want to keep, but REPI is on the winner's side, hasn't lost yet, so probably knows something.
Okay. Where the game plan here is entirely to just keep trying to control the board. I honestly think at this point it's the same if you.
That was insane.
Wow.
Here's some insanity, folks. This is why Fire Sprite Grove.
Bounce it.
Bounce it, ping, play it again, and then it'll ping in a few turns, or you can bounce it next turn and keep clearing board. This card is so cool.
Yeah, this will, again, if the goal is to remove from the board, this does a great job, because when you bounce it, it does the ping as well.
Why he didn't target the Fairy Whisperer, I'm not sure. It's a little misplay, I would say, but not a huge deal.
The only thing here is there's no Guiding Fairy.
Yeah, he did not draw the Guiding Fairy this time. Arya might not show up. No Elf Song in the hand again for SHADOWSHADET.
That's a big blow. I think that's a huge blow.
He's got the perfect hand for it, too. He's got the Liza to set up. He's at Elf Song.
Yeah. It's a little bit back and forth, right? There's no Elf Song and there's no Guiding Fairy.
He does have Leaf Man, though. Leaf Man will pump the board to get some big damage out. And this is a perfect turn for Liza.
I think the most important thing is trying to figure out how to keep things like Leafman and Liza in play, because there's the Cassiopeia, but I don't know if SHADOWSHADET's going to play around that.
Well, I think from what we've seen REPI do in the past, I feel like he is going to utilize the resources he can to minimize damage. What I mean by that is play the Fire Spike Grove into the Rhinoceroach, Rhinoceroach into the Liza, and then evolve the fairy over another fairy.
I think you're absolutely right. And again, against this matchup, this is absolutely fine, right?
Yeah, you just want to last longer. And the more damage you can take off the board more often, the better.
There it is.
Now he takes out the Fairy Whisper. There we go.
Yep. Okay, Brambles is here.
Yeah, I still think Leaf Man's the play. The reason I say that, because it will deal the most effective damage right now. And it will still prevent other damaging plays from happening. Now, he could wait until next turn, but he might not have a board next turn.
And remember, every evolution orb spent by Combo Forest that's not getting you zero-cost followers is actually cutting their damage by quite a bit. It's extending your life in the game by a lot.
Also, with the hand that REPI has, this hand is amazing against aggro. He has a way to actually kill Hyperia if Hyperia is played. He has a way to clear boards. He has a way to stall with the Aaron. I feel like he's got all the options he needs.
All right. Bounces and probably interesting. Doesn't throw down the Brambles.
Yep. I don't mind this. He's setting up for technically a bigger Leaf Man turn right before turn 6, which is the optimal turn to do it. So this line of play is perfectly fine. Of course, we know that there's this insane Fire Spike Grove Airbound Barrage play yet again. I'm just going to keep calling this out, guys. I'm going to keep calling it out.
Yeah.
So good.
It's going to be able to remove 2 more followers here. Airbound on the Evolved Fairy takes down 1 more random fairy. And really off the back of this Fire Sprite Grove is keeping himself in this game.
Yep, absolutely.
The 2-for-1s are really what he's looking for here.
And more than that, you know, because if when they stay in play, they add the fairy to the hand. So technically, you get so much value out of it over time. And now, SHADOWSHADET's just out of cards. That's it. I don't know a way that SHADOWSHADET can deal 14 damage now. Again, like we said, we already know there's ways around of Hyperia with cards in hand already with Cassiopeia. Big board, same thing.
And there's the Aaron to heal up, ward up, gain an evolution orb if you wait for 8. And that's really what's going to help REPI run away with it.
It won't be long now. So sparkly.
All right. Well, I mean, he's doing everything he can, right? He's setting up another board for a Leaf Man, trying to push. Of course, we know Cassiopeia is here to save the day.
So he's going to do 5. That's a full board clear. Oh, man.
And then we've got Aaron coming up soon with an Ancient Elf to possibly bounce that Aaron back or Cassiopeia back.
Yeah, and no evolution orbs on the side of SHADOWSHADET, and REPI is well on his way to just shut this match out and break the curse. Wow. He's just having to throw all his followers here, but they're so ineffectual. Not even getting the enhance effect here.
And if I'm SHADOWSHADET, this still just begs the question, are my bans correct? That's all I'm thinking right now. I went into this match, banned exactly this way, lost. Went into this match, banned exactly the same way, and possibly this is going to end in another defeat. Very likely.
REPI has all the options available here, and I guess he just wants to buff up his Ancient Elf just a little bit. Getting the Cassiopeia back, is able to play even more to the board here. Yeah. And with the Aaron coming down the next turn, I think that shuts the door. The Fairy Driver's not going to help. And this is really there it is, the tap out. REPI is going to take the grand finals.
Taking it.
That's what we're talking about.
Breaking the curse.
You know, Aggro Forest burns out, whereas Combo Forest just continues to demonstrate situations that are going to just end the game eventually.
Yeah. And if you guys notice, as per Envy's request, we are going to try this out. We've got the lemonade.
I can't